And we're back. Thanks for joining us, folks, because today we've got hometown sweethearts turned community leaders. Cory and Hillary Fosdyck have built a life fueled by faith, generosity, and family. From chasing NBA dreams to building a new vision together in Destin, their story weaves love, leadership, adoption, and a passion for giving back. This is how you live with purpose, side by side, folks. So please give a warm jabroni welcome to my friend, Cory and Hillary Fosdyck.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Big guns in today.
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid combos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.
Juice in the house.
And we're so back, man. How did you like that welcome?
That was awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed by that.
Venmo
so
upset at JB.
I need to have that on the back of my car. I think every bridal party down here is like, Venmo me a drink or something on the back of their car. I don't get it, but it's everywhere.
Man, no, I'm so glad y'all here with us
Thanks
today. I'm excited to have it. I want to welcome everybody to our floors.com studio. That's floors.com, F-L-O-O-R.
Double Z.
Double Z.com. Floors.com is your one-stop shop for your next flooring or wall covering, remodel, or new build. So definitely hit them up. Tell them the Jabroni sent you. They won't know who we are, but they will take care of you.
Jabroni
They
code,
will take
50%
care of
off.
Jabroni code. Is it up to 65% off?
65% off if you use the Jabroni code.
You know that we'll never go to dinner with
Nobody
you.
can spell Jabroni.
Mike will never talk to us again.
Mike will never have us over again. So, no, but for sure, check them out. Floors.com, man. We love those folks. They take care of it. They got bamboo floors, tile. I mean, they just got all the floors. All of them.
Yeah.
And I know they deliver to the continental United States.
It's interesting you always lead off with bamboo, and nobody I know has bamboo.
I've had bamboo. I like the bamboo.
You got the bamboo?
flooring.
It's sustainable.
sustainable
I'm just
flooring.
picturing like
I'm
the
here for
bamboo
the
thatch
environment.
on the ground.
I'm
yeah.
here for the environment.
Okay,
Juice.
gotcha.
If you don't care about the world we live in, then who will?
Who will?
Who will?
Who will?
Who will? You're right. I do always start off with bamboo. I don't know what that is.
Oh, man.
I have no
I
clue.
like it.
I'm going to go
Alphabetical
with
order, yeah. Well, I know it checks out. ADHD or whatever you said we had. ADD.
That jingle is fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
No, that's so good. But I am really excited to have you on. Cory, I've gotten to know you over the last several, maybe over the year. We run into each other at all sorts of events.
Yeah,
like
CAC.
The ECAC. I call them the ECAC.
Yeah.
Animal Coast Children's Advocacy Center. Love them. You do a lot of great work with them. You and your wife both, and golf tournaments and different things. And it's always great because what's great is you're always there. I mean, you guys are always involved in the community so well. And we're going to dive into that story. We're going to talk to you both. We're going to dive into your adoption story. But before we do that, we're going to play What the Hell Do I Know? With Cory and Hillary Fosdyck. Now, this is how it works. 7 questions, rapid succession. I'm going to do 1 through 4. I'm going to do for you, Cory.
Okay.
I'm going to do then 4 through 7. So you'll both have the same number of questions if my math's correct. I did go to the University of Georgia. But we're gonna do 1 through 4, and then I'll do 4 through 7. So you'll also answer it, but let's put the clock on. No wrong answers.
No.
Clock's on. No wrong answer. You pass if you need to. Here we go. Cory, first question, early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
If you had to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Pot roast.
Dang, he already knew the question.
These aren't pre-planned.
Oh,
I mean, you need to go on Family Feud. Dream vacation spot. Go.
Switzerland.
All right. All right.
Nice.
All right. What's your go-to comfort TV show or movie?
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I love it.
All right.
Now we're switching over to you, Hillary. What's your go-to TV show or movie?
Sister Act 2.
Oh, come on. Which one is
Have
that?
you seen it?
Yeah.
Oh my
No,
gosh.
I think
Yeah, I've seen it.
if your life had a theme song, what would it be? Definitely a harder question, for sure.
Yeah. Wait,
It might be from Sister Act 2. What's that song and dance from Sister Act 2 that you did your 40th birthday?
Yes.
That's so bad.
Do want to do this. Then we can
we may
also
have
we
to
do.
unplug her so she can.
We will have the video
Yes.
playing.
Okay, deal.
All right, we'll move on. We can come back to it. If your life had, sweet or salty snacks?
Salty.
Okay. What's one hobby or skill you've always wanted to try but haven't yet?
Snowboarding.
Oh, it's so good.
Right?
I
In
love it.
Switzerland.
Yes,
How about that?
In
That's where it's
Switzerland.
happening.
Yeah.
That's so good. Now, again, we'll come back to it. You have life. If your life had a theme song, what would it be? Not sure. Stuck on it.
Don't stop believing.
Can I? Oh, that's good.
That's a
I
good
like
one.
that. Can I take that?
You-
All right.
you're done.
I just locked that one up.
You guys are off the hot seat. So great job. Well done. Well done. All right. Great job. No, that was awesome, huh? Is this easy? 7
Easy.
questions. You only had to
Easy.
do 4, so you got less than what everybody else gets.
That's right.
So, but no, I'm so thankful to have you guys on. I know you guys both grew up in the same hometown, but did you didn't? I know I've talked to you about this, but did you guys? Did you know each other then in high school or
Knew each other but did not date
did not
in high
date?
school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I moved to, we grew up in Macomb, Illinois, and I moved there when I was about to turn 13, and I met his sister at a gymnastics meet, basically, and so we hit it off first thing and rode bikes all over town with her, and then by way of being friends with her, I saw that she had an older brother that was quite good looking, and so I had my eye on him for a long time.
How did she feel at the time about this?
All the girls thought he was really cute, so she was like, oh geez, here we go again.
Not you too.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Money from a
whatever.
friendship.
Yeah, no.
But you guys didn't date then. This was years later after you kind of found your way to Destin, which we're going to kind of explore a little bit. But when you found your way to Destin, you went back home.
Mm-hmm.
And so what's the moment that you're like, I'm going to ask this girl out?
So I was back home over Christmas time, December, visiting. My grandfather was in hospice, so I was kind of going back to pay my respects, say my goodbyes. She was home visiting her family. She was still in college, and ran into each other at the local pub.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great.
And I kind of gave her the pitch. I'm like, hey, why don't you come down to Florida? And she was in Minnesota at the time.
Oh my
still
God,
in
yes.
college.
Yeah,
I'll
in the
come.
middle of winter.
What month was it in Minnesota,
yeah,
right?
this was December, so
Oh, yeah,
January.
Florida? I'll be
I
there.
was in
Winter
Minnesota.
leaving?
He was Florida.
You're like, yeah. I'm,
Yeah.
I'm
Were you
in.
a hostage?
Absolutely.
Like, what?
Senior in college.
No, but
I'm
you
headed to
ran
Florida.
into her at a pub. First off, I want to understand this game. Because you ran into her at a pub and
Yeah.
gave her a pitch immediately to come to
Pretty
Florida.
much, yeah. I said,
Really?
hey, look, if you
Is this
come
a
down,
movie?
I'll
This
pay
sounds
for
like
the
a-
ticket.
It kind
Okay.
of
I'll
is.
pay for the plane
Yeah.
ticket.
So you're
That was my
telling me
pitch. I was
just come
not
down and hang,
salesman.
you're glad to like come down, hang
Visit
out.
spring
Yeah.
break
Like,
or something.
visit, yeah, okay.
But I did say I could see myself dating you.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It was we were only home for like 2 days, and on day 2, he was like, "Hey, I really would like to talk long distance if you're interested." And I was kind of thinking, this is fun for right now, but I don't know that this is going to be a long-term thing. How are we going to logistically figure this thing out? And so I was like, sure, reach out to me. If you want to talk, then you contact me. And so I just kind of sat on that for a while, and so he kept reaching out, and he'd send me postcards of Noriega Point, of like little. He was like
freezing
Mr.
in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
It's
Like everything I know about him is persistence.
persistent.
And, like,
he was
he
very
will not
persistent.
give up.
Yes. So it was like little stick figures on Noriega Point, and it was like, this could be us, you, me. Yeah,
Nice,
here you go.
Corey.
It's
It's like
Nice
the 90s,
work.
90s love bombing.
Seriously, this
This sounds like
AOL,
was
AOL
slick.
Messenger.
this sounds like a Hallmark movie.
Before you think it was slick, she was like, I'll play the player. This is, I'll
know
net
this
these tickets
game.
to Florida in
I know the
February.
game.
So awesome.
Got him.
And how long did this go on? This courting happen?
Yeah.
How long do you?
About 8 months.
About 8
Yeah.
months.
Yeah, because I was finishing my senior year in college.
Okay.
And had a job at the time, and was kind of, post-college trying to figure out what does life look like, and was not anticipating meeting this guy. And so then a lot of, evaluating, well, what does our future look like at that point after 8 months of dating? And so decided, because he was anchored in his job at the time,
Right.
that, you know what, it was worth a chance.
One of the coolest parts of the story, though,
Yeah.
is in high school, we had in our school newspaper, the very last issue of the year, the seniors were allowed to leave a senior will, which basically you bequeathed your shortstop skills to the
Right.
sophomore.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Or this to that. I had forgotten this. She reminded me when we got back together that I had left to Hillary Erdman the date we never had.
Ah.
No, you didn't.
Did-
Yes.
Quit.
Totally had forgotten about it. So she's like, I swear this happened. I'll dig it up. It was
You
a
have
process.
it?
Yeah.
You have that. It's
Yeah.
got to be framed, right?
I actually lost it, and years later, I was like, I promise you, and he did not believe me that
Right.
he had written this, and so I was like, it's somewhere in the recesses. I know it. Listen, this was very important as a freshman for
yeah.
a senior to
For a
write this to you,
senior to
and the
say
guy
that.
that I was like, he was cute, and so
Which, by the
my
way-
mom's like, I promise, but.
And you found it.
So a person in my class had posted on Facebook our reunion page and was like, hey, I have all of the papers from our whole time in high school. If anybody needs one of them, let me know. And I immediately was like, do you have the
Date, year,
1997?
boom. Yes.
And sure enough, she had it and mailed it to me. And so I was like,
See, Cory?
That's so
Look at
great.
Isn't that
you.
wild?
That is
Man.
I can't wait to
Wait,
watch
yeah.
this on a Hallmark. Hey, you guys signed away
That's
any of these rights to this stuff? You got an
You're
agent?
in. You're in.
I can write the screenplay for this.
yeah.
It's already
It
written.
was snowing.
How would you say growing up? How would you say growing up in your community? Like, because there is something about growing up in a community in that helps shape a person. And you guys grew up really in the same community.
Sure.
How does that shape? You know, how do you shape your values out of that community? What was that hometown like that would shape where you are and who you are?
I'll let you take that.
Small town, Midwest, Central Illinois. So
Okay.
it's cornfields, soybeans, right?
Yeah.
And so that Midwest mentality, you played either basketball or basketball. You know.
Or basketball. I'm a Hoosier, so you know.
Yeah. So same as Indiana, really.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know.
A lot of
not-
corn, a lot of soybeans, a lot of
Yeah.
basketball.
Did
Not
you have
Chicago.
like did you have like the hoop on the barn sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
come
mean,
on.
we had one in the driveway. Didn't have a
Every
barn,
driveway,
but
yeah.
but we spent a lot of time playing in the winter. You know, in my buddy's at his farm in
Right.
the shop.
Right.
And so you come out of there with your hands would just be black from dribbling the ball in the the shop where they keep all the equipment. So,
So you played it nonstop.
nonstop. Yeah. Played baseball and football and stuff too, but
Yeah.
you know,
To stay
like
in shape for
Indiana.
basketball.
That's right.
That's how,
You know the
Same
routine.
thing in football down here in
Yeah.
the South. It's
Yeah.
those top athletes go into football. Up there, it's basketball. They really do.
Hey D, can you turn my ears down, my in-ears down, just a little bit? Yeah, I feel like I'm there. Oh,
Everybody's screaming at you.
Yeah, I had them high there for some reason. That's so much better. I was hearing myself too much. Like I don't want to hear myself. Who
does?
Yeah. So you know what's interesting is you talking about bequeathing the first date, the date you never had.
Yeah.
And as a dad of a girl, I mean, I dated my wife. She was a sophomore and I was a senior, so 16 and 15. We went on our first date together. I don't ever want that. I would never want that
Right.
for my girls. Like, no, you are not dating a 17 or 18
Not
year old
that.
teen. Like, what's so
is this
crazy?
guy?
I know, but but that was a common thing. I mean, I remember people, seniors dating freshmen
Right.
and sophomores, and not necessarily like seniors and seniors or seniors and juniors. You know, right? And that
Yeah,
was
it's
a
almost more
thing.
common, isn't it?
Yeah. And now I don't know. Does it happen? I don't know if it still happens. I mean, all of my kids, my son's same age. Izzy's same age. So I guess, and my youngest he's only 1 year older. Is that what you said? Yeah. Danielle's in the control room. She's hollering out. She checks all my dates.
Yeah.
I'm the least. I'm a rounder.
Fact checker.
Yeah.
Danielle is exact.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
From
I've
the sound
learned that over the years. Well, Cory, you had a dream of working in the NBA front office because you played basketball at the university.
Western Illinois.
Western Illinois University. Okay, and is it it's a
Yeah.
university?
Is that the Stallions? I feel like, what is it?
You know, it's better. It's the Leathernecks.
The Leathernecks.
Them are some like
Yeah.
rough
Nice.
stallions.
Nice.
Okay.
What
Them are
position
some
did you play?
mean stallions.
What position did you play, Cory?
I was shooting guard.
Shooting
could
guard.
not dribble, but I could.
You got like me, yeah. Yeah,
So
good
no
norm.
Allen Iverson crossover sort of thing.
No, I was not crossing anybody up unless I was tripping.
You get a spot up three, you're gonna hit it.
Yeah, I'll hit that.
Maybe 40%, right?
Yeah.
Who
If
was
they
your
regard me, I would just scoot back and shoot it from further.
That's that's great.
That's right.
You know, my high school team, they actually, the hometown I came from, years later, I'm talking like in the 2010s, somewhere in the mid 2010s, they won the state championship. Now, I was the third graduating class in high school, and back then we were the laughing stock of everybody.
Yeah.
And we were small, white guys, and they could shoot, or the team could shoot 3-pointers, and they set the record, like for the most 3-pointers ever
Only
like
3.
made in a game.
Shoot only 3.
Because that's all they
That's
shot
it.
was
We
3.
can't rebound.
never getting in
Shoot
there.
the 3 and run
That's
on the
exactly right. That's all they did is shoot threes. But it's the program that as the town's grown and more more diversity and variety and players came, heights got bigger, and they started driving the rock. I don't know, is that a thing that's still today? But you dreamed of working in like the NBA front office. You were telling me that was
I
like
did.
your goal. Can you walk me through kind of that? Because I love this story.
Yeah. So playing basketball at Western Illinois, my coach was a famous guy. He was 2-time All-American at Tulane. His name was Jim Kerwin. One of his previous stops, he was at Kansas State under a guy by the name of Lon Kruger.
Okay.
At the time, Lon Kruger he had coached at Illinois. I actually played against him when he was a coach at the University of Illinois. And then he went on and got the job for the Atlanta Hawks. I knew that I wanted to move south. Like, I loved growing up in a small Midwest town, but I knew there was something bigger and warmer for me.
I like that.
So I literally pulled out the map and I said, okay, Atlanta is south and bigger.
Yeah.
And I was like, Miami, just not my thing.
Yeah.
Tampa maybe, Orlando maybe. But Atlanta kind of just felt right. And so I really got intentional about figuring out how I could get in the front office of the Atlanta Hawks. Knew the coach, had a relationship with the coach. I'm like, I need to get a relationship with the general manager because that's what I want to be when I grow up, a general manager. So I cold called him every Friday, at 1 o'clock, just like Charlie Sheen in the movie Wall Street.
Right.
And
Tiger blood.
Where's my
That's
sound
it.
bite? We have a sound bite for it.
Yeah.
Oh, we do.
Charlie Sheen's winning or something.
Yeah, it's a
great
terrible
story.
soundbite. It's a terrible soundbite.
It's not good for this.
We're
Actually.
not
Now that I
playing
think about it.
Danielle hates
Now that I
it.
think about it.
Look at you shaking her head.
Yeah. So, anyways, we get the Wall Street Journal back then. It was a paper copy in our college house, and I'm reading through it or skimming through it, and there's an article about Pete Babcock, general manager of the Atlanta Hawks. I'm like, perfect. I cut it out, sign something, a little note, and mail it to his office. Go to practice a week later, and I come home, and we still had an answer machine at the time, right? And it's flickering, meaning you had a message. And so I go and push play, and it's like, hey, this is Pete Babcock with the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah, baby.
You keep bugging me, and I just got to see what the heck you want, basically.
That's that persistence.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I said, man, I want to be you. I don't want to take your job, but I want to be you someday.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, why don't you want to coach? I said, well, because my dad's a coach, high school basketball coach, and I love that part of it. I love the game. I want to be around the game for the rest of my life. But I really, want to be on the business side of basketball. I think that would marry my skill set, being on the business side of something that I love. He's like, okay, that makes sense. He goes,
Well, you were finishing your MBA, right?
I was in my 5th year of playing. Yep. So
Okay.
I redshirted my freshman year. In order to be eligible, you had to take classes. So I went ahead and enrolled in grad school.
Okay.
My 5th year to play that last season. And so I did, a study on naming rights for pro franchises. Everything I did in school was geared towards getting in the front office of a franchise. And hopefully basketball, I would have taken, hockey or football as well. I did an internship in baseball. So yeah, he gave me the hookup, talked to this lady in the front office, and basically they offered me the job after the 3rd interview. And they're like, look, you're way overqualified, but, if you're willing to do it for $6,600 a year, we will hire you.
Hey.
We'll hire you as the on-court, during the timeout promotion guy.
Yeah.
You run around, get the crowd going, throw some T-shirts. Yeah.
Did they have the gun then?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
Man, that might be
Might
worth
be worth
$6,000.
That may be worth
$6,000.
$6,000 to shoot that thing.
Like, I just want to shoot the guy right on the front seats.
Right?
You
Hey,
paid a lot of
Spike.
money for
Yeah,
the ticket.
bam. Yeah. Especially if it's the wrong fan, right?
So that's how it went, and I had no money, right? College kid,
right.
about to graduate. Packed up my car. I put $500 down on an apartment in Buckhead, non-refundable, but I had the job. I'm literally basically driving down with my car packed, can't see out the rearview mirror type of situation. Everything I own, I get a call from the lady. And she's like, Mr. Fosdyck, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to renege on this job.
Yeah.
And I said, who's more qualified to shoot a T-shirt gun than me?
Yeah.
I know the coach. I know the GM.
Oh my
I know how to shoot a T-shirt gun.
Right. I know how to
You know, I got my master's. I played basketball. I mean, it's,
Right.
who could
Who
possibly
shoot this better?
Yeah. And no, sir, you know, our sales team did a great job this week. They sold a seasoned skybox to this ultra wealthy guy that runs a construction company in town, and his one request was that his daughter get that job.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And so that's what they don't teach you in undergrad or grad school.
Right.
Real world hits you immediately
Soon-
as soon
so
as
you
you walk
know.
across the stage and get your cert.
Hey, y'all listen to young people out there.
Relationships matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it's just
so I
square in
kept
the
driving.
face.
That's how I got to Destin.
But
I mean,
you
I
were
was
on
homeless.
the way down.
Yeah.
And
Drove down.
So you just kept driving to the
Destin?
beach.
I mean, you could have driven to Orlando. You could have done
Yeah.
Tampa. You could have done Jacksonville. Like, why? Like, there is, by the way, I do think there is some sort of highway in the Midwest that, like, comes
It's
either to Pensacola or
true.
Destin,
Yeah.
right?
It
There
goes
is a- had you
Montgomery.
been there before?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. We had vacationed here as a kid. The campground, camping on the Gulf is what it's called now. It might
Is
have
that
been-
where you stayed?
We always stayed there.
No, I mean, is that where
No.
you stayed on the way down? In his car. I got 20 bucks for this tent.
He lived in his car. He had nothing.
I was prepared to do that.
Yeah. Persistence.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's almost like the story. What was the guy? That his name was Chris something, but in the real life he was played by Will Smith.
Mhm.
You know who I'm talking
I do,
about?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
With
the
the
financial, the wealth
Pursuit
guy.
of
with the-
Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. Great movie.
So almost
Yeah.
like this story. Like here you are.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit better off. No young kids.
100%,
So you got a
yeah.
lot of different.
Yeah.
You had some advantages still going for you, but nonetheless you were homeless and just drove down to Destin.
Yeah. My parents had bought a house and that they weren't in, so I had a roof.
Okay.
When I say
All right.
homeless, I mean
I got
I
you.
had
You
to.
just didn't know where to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because I had put my money down on this place. And
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my intention was to get back to Atlanta or move to Tampa.
But you're like, I'm just going to come down here for a minute because
3 days just to collect my thoughts.
6 hours away.
Because I had this all planned out. I
Yeah.
knew
Yeah, you
exactly
did.
what I was going to do, and I
Yeah.
executed it until, life happens.
God
And
sometimes has
so I
different
needed
plans.
a couple days to. That's right.
God sometimes had different plans. I mean, that redirection led you here to Destin, and
Exactly.
then eventually, I mean, I don't think Hillary would have left the Midwest to come to Atlanta. I mean,
Right.
it's cool, but it ain't.
Maybe
that-
for Cory.
It ain't that.
Those
You
Minnesota
didn't
winters are pretty
have-
You didn't
rough.
have postcards at
Yeah.
Noriega Point if you were in Atlanta.
Exactly. Yeah. My
I was
drip
dusting all
campaign
the
would not have been as
snow off of me.
effective.
Looking at those.
Right, wouldn't have been. But what I also thought was interesting is that when you came down, there was like this financial crisis that happened. You were telling me, and things that weren't the same in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I guess the what was
Tech
it?
bubble
the tech
burst,
bubble
yeah.
burst. And here you were going around looking for like that wealth management side of things, and there nobody was looking
Nobody.
to hire, right?
Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah, they kind of laughed me out of the different brokerage firms, and I went and printed my resumes at with the floppy drive at
Kinko's.
Copy Systems in Walmart. Copy Systems
He's
existed
from
back
the
in Walmart.
1900s. folks.
Sounds like it. Sounds like it.
We are
1900.
1900s.
Put on my best suit, my only suit, right?
Yeah, right.
And drove around. I went to Charles Schwab. I went to Prudential. Went to
Yeah.
Morgan Stanley, and I saved UBS Payne Weber for last because it had the coolest looking building. I'm like, I'm gonna cut my teeth
Yeah.
on these first 10, and I'm gonna go to that one last. And so I'd go in, and the Morgan Stanley guy,
Right.
who we laugh about it to this day, he's like, look, man, you're 23 years old. We don't hire, startup kids. They never make it. They never
Right,
make it.
right.
Plus, we're not hiring because it's at the tail end of the tech bubble burst in August of 2002.
Which is a weird thing to say, by the
Yeah.
way, that a young kid never makes it. Like,
Somebody's got to.
if you are in a position of leadership and you're not giving young people a chance, what do you think where's
Where
the
they gonna come
leadership
from?
going to come from?
Where they gonna come
Where's
from?
it going to come from, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it is a weird thing to say.
It
Because
is.
everybody's got to start.
Yeah.
But what I love about this story is this UBS story, because I think the audience would love to hear this.
So I roll into the parking lot. I've been rejected 10 times, right? And it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'd been going at it since 10 a.m. and pretty dejected. I get out of my car, and then, I'm like, forget this, I'm going to the bar. I know what's going to happen. I already know the outcome.
Right,
It's
right.
going to be a bad rejection. And and I don't need another one of those. So I get back in the car, literally put it in reverse, and something, told me, you're here, just what can be? Just go in, drop off your resume, and who knows. I get back out of the car, put it in park, go back of the car, go up the elevator, hand it to Julia Kearns, who's at the front desk, and she's like, just a moment. She goes in to hand it to Tim, and it's pretty funny to hear him tell the story, his side of it. But yeah, a couple
y'all
of
are still
interviews later,
together.
we're still together to this day, still partners, 23 years later.
So for him to tell the story, what would he say in the sense of why in the world did he hire a 23-year-old kid, knucklehead, from the Midwest that couldn't even shoot T-shirts at the Hawks Stadium?
Yeah.
And why in the heck would he, what would his story, what would he say?
Yeah, his story is that Julia gave me the nod, like, you ought to see this resume, or, because I had my suit on.
Everything was...
Yeah. You just didn't see it very often in Destin. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Here's the thing, and this is where I think young people can learn from. One, persistence. But then the other thing is that you need to prepare yourself the way you look, being on time. I always say, it's a weird thing. I've said this 1,000 times. Being on time is early. On time is early.
Yes, I
On time's early. Early's late, and late don't even come in, bro. Don't even come in. You know. So when you're doing these things, though, having a suit, not looking disheveled, having a resume put together, cleaning now that we're out of the 1900s, cleaning up your socials, right? Right?
Yeah.
These things are so important. You're going to have rejection, but at some point you can't get rid of that preparation.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah. It was a good lesson for me to keep going, and one I needed, because it certainly impacted me when I don't want to make another phone call or send another email. That's still there. So
honestly, your stories kind of help even me in the podcast world, because I love telling stories. I love telling people's stories and showcasing those. But as our podcast has grown and we want to get different interviews
stories,
on, I'm constantly reaching out to different influencers all across the planet. But I send 50, I'll go after 50 and get 3, or I go after, but it's persistence. It's constantly email. I was telling the guys the other day, some of the people I was getting on, that our audience would be excited to maybe hear, that they might even know, going through their PR agents and dealing with them saying no and no and no. It's I don't care. I just got to keep doing it, keep asking and keep asking and keep asking. And that persistency and consistency is so important.
Yeah.
It's a big life lesson. Hillary, with your heart, and really both of y'all's hearts for philanthropy and parenting, how has that blended into, your work as a couple and a family, this generosity? How does that, how do you blend that into your work, doing that as a couple?
Yeah. Well, I think as we established a family and kind of got together, just identifying what are our overlapping values together, and how can we make a bigger impact together than individually. And so identifying that as one of the things was a big piece for us. And I do event planning, and so thankfully in that process of getting to plan different events, we got to be exposed to a lot of different nonprofits, especially in this area, whose mission is, supporting charities in the area. And so my business partner and I have gotten to do a lot of events, all the way stemming back from really the early days of moving to Destin, and by Cory's volunteerism in some of those different charities too. There was just so much overlap between the two of them, and so that part was cool, because we kind of got to come in and see it from two different sides of it. Him sitting on the board, and then us being able to kind of execute, how do we actually make those things tangibly happen.
What events do you work with?
Well, we've done lots of different things over the years. We've been in business for 18 years, but for now we do the South Walton Beaches Wine and Food Festival that also benefits the Destin Charity Wine Auction Foundation and all of the charities that go for that. But we worked with Destin Charity Wine Auction early on. Pretty much every one of our events has some kind of nonprofit component to it. So it's been neat to be able to partner with different ones and see what they do.
I see you guys all the time at different events, and the events are fun. I mean, I love a good meal and a great glass of wine, like everybody else in the world. But really doing good is so important, like the generosity behind it. And not everybody that does, there are people that do well that might look at their balance sheet and say, I need to give a little bit more because I need to reduce, my taxable income, or I need to do it, right? What drives the pair of you to say, I want to be generous? Like, as I do well, I want to be more generous. Because I know that's your heart. What drives that?
I just think it's a servant heart mentality, and there is a need here. I think there's a misperception that in Destin, there's not children in need or people in need. And you spend an hour in a board meeting at the Destin Charity Wine Auction or hear from any of their benefiting charities, the 16 of them, real quick that there's a lot of folks in need, in particular young ones.
Yeah.
And so that has influenced a lot, just seeing the need out. There's 1,300 kids in foster care in the general area. 1,300.
Dang, I didn't know
Well,
that.
and I know, like, Emerald, we were just talking about it in a break between when we got a long day of shooting today, and in between that break, we were talking about the Emerald Coast Children's Advocacy Center. Something like 1,100 kids go through there between the two counties every year. And I mean, these
alarming.
are honestly, it's crazy because if the audience doesn't realize this is like sexually abused children.
Yeah.
And that just to me is unfathomable.
Right.
Yeah.
You
But,
think, like in this community, how's that possible?
yeah, because it's the beach.
It's the beach. Everything's great here, right? Look, have
Yeah.
you seen the water? It's
Every
beautiful.
day Sunday, baby.
Right.
But it's not.
It's
It's
wild.
not for everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody, and it's one of those old adages like you don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be like keeping up with the Joneses, and you put on your church clothes when you
Right.
go outside or whatever, and now it's like your Facebook page or your social media is like now the new, I've never put on an argument I've had with my wife on social media.
Yeah.
Like
No.
I've never posted like
It's all
I'm never
that
like, we're
beautiful-
gonna do a reel of this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Let's bring it out.
Right. But it is, and when you get involved in the charities, you realize. But I think we can turn a blind eye to that. But it's servant's heart. That's a great way to put it.
I think that's what drives us to do it. Yeah.
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 No, that's amazing. But how do you balance that? Like you two do such a great job. You obviously you work in that generosity. You've got leadership where you're leading your organization and the wealth management group that you guys work in and the work you do there for all of your clients. But how do you balance that in like real life parenting and the event planning? Because you can get pulled away so hard from your work. You get pulled away charities, and when you get involved in generosity too, like your heart breaks for everything else out there. Like at some point, you got to say though, like, how do I take care of my home team? Like,
Yeah.
And you got a big home
Honestly.
team. We haven't even
Yeah,
touched
we have
on.
a huge home
You got a
team.
big home
Yeah,
team.
we're gonna dive into that. We're getting there. We're winding up.
You're
We're winding
halfway
up.
to an offensive
Yeah. I
side
think
of the football.
for sure. I think we're sitting kind of in the middle of those questions, honestly. That's we'll maybe get into that or whatever, but our team has grown significantly in the last couple of years, and so always with new seasons, there's recalibration and a reevaluation of what are our priorities now for this new season. And so, we can't be all things for all people, and God doesn't ask us to be all things for all people. And so I think kind of trying to identify like what is the nucleus that we will make the most impact, and what is our focus for this particular season. And so legitimately we are asking each other those hard questions
So you're
right now.
constantly reevaluating
Yeah.
like where your needs need to be.
Absolutely.
How often are you reevaluating that?
More than I bring it up all the time.
Do you
He's
really?
like, yeah,
Do you
it's
hit
so.
it like weekly, monthly? You're constantly reevaluating
What
this?
would you
Yeah.
say? I ask.
Yeah, at least weekly.
Weekly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
what is the
that's so
priority?
smart.
Where are we spending our time?
Okay.
And is that producing the results that we want in the long term?
Wow.
Yeah, because mostly, I mean, everything has value.
Yeah.
If you say yes to something,
100%.
it has so much value in it, and you see like, okay, well, I could see that producing this and this and this and this, but also it comes at a cost.
Well,
and
thank
so
you for saying yes to this.
what is the cost, And so really always outweighing like what is the value of this and what is the cost of
Did
it.
you
and
like
so
read a Beth Moore book or something? I mean, where does
I
this
love
come
Beth
from?
Moore, by the way.
No,
but
I do too. I do
Shout
too.
out to her.
I do too. But I mean, where does this come from?
Well, because for me, I guess with my relationship with God, it's
Sure.
consistently having to evaluate, interpersonally looking at our own lives and saying, are we following the call of God on what we have? And yes, everything looks really great, but is it what he's calling us to? And
That's
so
so good
there's
insight.
there's great things over here, sure, but if his spirit isn't on it and if we aren't called to it, then it just falls flat, or it only goes so far. But if his spirit is on it and if we're called to it, then it's multiplication. You know,
Yeah.
it does way more than what we can do as a couple or we can do on our own. So I'm just constantly evaluating those questions and
I
making
think
him
that's so
have to
smart.
think about that stuff.
That is so smart to do. Danielle and I think it was Andy Stanley that said this, and I think it's maybe a sermon we heard or a leadership pod or something like that, but he was saying that as a Christian, if you're generous, then you can feel very bold and comfortable in being able to say no. You know, because you don't have to support every charity in
Yeah.
the world, right?
Yeah.
And so when you find things that are near and dear to your heart and you're supporting them, you know, like I don't have to go to Publix and every time they say, you know, you want to round up for $2? No, I already got my stuff.
Right.
I already know what I'm doing. I got
Right.
to round everything up,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
But we get that way where you feel like, well,
Oh,
of course
a
I'll do
little
it for the
guilty, a
kids,
little-
you know,
yeah.
or whatever, you know,
Like, that's a
right?
great
Yeah.
cause, of course,
Right,
yeah.
right. But when you live generously, you can be bold in saying, I don't have to say yes to everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And right now.
Right,
Like, I'll give you an
exactly.
example. When we're going through the adoption and just gotten the boys a couple years ago, you know, I'm passionate about the Bourbon Society, right? Founded that in 2017. And in 2022, right after we had gotten Mike and Zion, you know, I didn't attend for basically a year.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, my buddies were like, look, they're going to boat you out, ha, ha, ha,
Right,
type
right.
of thing. And, you know, where you been, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, during that season of life, it wasn't where I needed to be.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
and there's a lot of other things like that
That's a
where,
great example.
you know, I've gone back to it and attend as much as I can. But,
You only have 24 hours in the day. What's
It's,
the most
it's
important?
okay to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no. And the fact that you guys are constantly checking yourself, that's so great. By the way, I've told several people that you guys were coming on to the show, and one person was like, they literally told me, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're having them on, because I think they are like our community's shining example of parenting. So I
Ooh.
wanted to share with you.
Wow.
Do you ever feel
Let's
that way?
go into this parenting.
Because they're like,
Let's
you
pull
ain't
on
come
that
into
thread
my
a little
home.
bit.
You
That's
ain't come
a lot
into
of
my home.
pressure.
Right. So be careful with
Pretty
your
much
answers.
feel it every day.
Yeah.
Sorry, maybe I
Everybody's
should have told you
watching.
afterwards.
Yeah.
we all fall short. We know that.
We do. We do.
That's right.
We
Every
were
day.
talking a little bit before, like, there's no perfect parent either.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
mess up.
No.
There's 1,000 books written on parenting, but all those people messed up too.
Yeah, totally.
So that's what we say to our kids. We're going to apologize
Yeah, in advance.
for what we've done. And
I
always
told
"Therapy's
my
on
kids.
me."
I told my kids their first several therapy sessions. It's on me.
Yeah.
And then,
I got you
if
covered.
you need me to come in and sit and apologize
Yeah.
for anything, I will. I did the best I
Exactly.
could. I'm trying to do the best I
Yes.
can, and I want to be open and transparent with that. But you know, there was no playbook when they handed it to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
But
no
your
playbook.
family's really grown. How many?
Yeah.
You got
Really
18 kids now?
We have 8. It feels like 18.
So you're playing zone defense
Yeah.
now instead of
Yeah.
man to man.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah.
We have 5.
5. That's awesome.
Five, and they're beautiful. And y'all just, I mean, we were on vacation. You guys were out of town on vacation, and you sent me, like, there was an event we were talking about, and I was like, well, here we're in Ireland, right? And then you were sending me pictures of where you guys were, and you had this opportunity. I want to talk into your adoption story, and you had an opportunity to take your boys back and kind of meet, you know, some of their family.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really cool.
But I want to go through this adoption story with you, and before we do that, though, we're going to take a quick little break.
What a cliffhanger! Cliffhanger. Nice work.
This is a perfect time for me to tell you about my friends over at True North Pest Control. True North Pest Control, they are your pest control superheroes. So again, you got critters, you got those palmetto bugs, Brandon likes to call
Mother.
them. Yeah, we like to call them cockroaches. But they get them all. They get them all, dude. And they're so nice. They come by and they sweep for the spiders and do all the eaves. And you want to get mosquito. This time of year, mosquitoes, they have mosquito service. They'll blow the yard and put this stuff out there. And I can sit outside now because of True North Pest Control.
That's true. Your neighbors have mosquitoes, but you don't.
Well, I don't. I have
There's
this like this barrier around
like
my
a
house.
golden dome.
There's no bugs around me, and so bugs are good, but just not in my yard.
Just not around
in
me.
my house.
That's right.
So call True North again, TrueNorthPest.com. True North Pest Control all over Central Florida, the Emerald Coast, and all over Georgia. So give them a shout, give them a ring. I love those folks there. They're great. Tell them the Jabroni sent you, and they will take care of you. Now back to our show and with Cory and Hillary. So we're back, and I do want to correct, for the record, I do want to correct this, because in the break, Hillary just told me that she does not like Don't Stop Believing.
I get it.
I need
It's
a new
overplayed.
theme song.
You need
It's
a new
way
theme
overplayed.
song. So
So
we're not going to put you on the spot
Okay.
here, but maybe in post edit I'll flash something up
Okay,
if you'll just
yeah.
message me
Yes.
and tell me like what it is. Well, like right here I'll flash whatever your theme song
Perfect.
is. So to give you plenty of time, we
You got one? Did you think of one? Okay.
that's the thing.
3 a.m. this morning.
I was thinking about it in my sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, 3 a.m. I got it.
I got a song.
Yeah, she'll hit it up.
right.
It's so good.
Do my best thinking.
We
sleep
kind of
in bed.
touched on the adoption story, or alluded to
Yeah,
the adoption
cliffhanger, yeah.
story, the cliffhanger at the end, and I want to jump into it because I know adoption is clearly close to your hearts. I mean, Brandon said that your family's been growing. You talked about how you adopted your 2 boys, 22. Is that right? In 2022.
That's right.
So you adopted them, and we were just talking about how you had this trip down to Miami and got a chance to meet a sibling of theirs.
Yeah, older
Was
sister.
was it a grandmother as well?
It was their foster mom who's 75.
Okay,
so
so
they
the
lived,
foster mom.
lived with her for 5 years, and she was very impactful.
Yeah.
That's
on
awesome.
them,
And
yeah.
you how was that? So how was that meeting? That their world.
It was complex.
I imagine.
Complex is the first
I
step
imagine
of that.
so.
Yeah. Can I reverse back a little bit?
I
Can I
know
go
this
back
is your
to-
show, Hillary.
Okay, no.
This is your show.
Let's go.
I'm here for 100%.
Just a well-rounded picture.
I
of
need you to take me
Yeah.
to the parts
On a
you need to
journey.
take me on the journey.
take you on a journey. Journey.
It's going to be stuck in your head.
Welcome to
No.
Miami. Yeah. Will Smith. Welcome to Miami.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
We did play that.
Yeah,
Nice.
So, yeah.
Everybody plays that when they go to Miami.
But adoption has been on our hearts for a long time. My brother was adopted from Korea. And so that kind of started, I guess, my family, along with a lot of other families that were in the community that I lived in, either were fostering or had adopted. And so we had this international families group. And so for me growing up, that was a very normal way of expanding your family, and that's all that I knew. It was my only brother. And so when Cory and I started dating and having all those conversations about alignment and what that would look like, kind of one of the main things that I had talked to him about was, I would love to grow our family through adoption. And
It was in our prenuptial agreement.
When you had absolutely nothing.
when we had
the one light item
when we
was.
didn't have the $6,000.
Right.
But yeah, so it really was a big part of the conversation leading up to, like, do we align? And so he had said, that's not something that I'm necessarily familiar with and not something that I feel the same level of comfort that you do, but I'm open to it.
Okay.
And so that started just the thinking through. And fast forward, we had our oldest son, Nash, pretty easily. And then we thought, well, we'll have 2 and then adopt. And so long story short, the 2 was a long journey and a difficult process. And so in the middle of that, we kind of opened up the conversation to, well, we always said that we would be open to adopting. Do we want to consider that now instead? And so that is how our little girl, Monroe, was also adopted. And so we adopted Monroe from birth.
Okay, so birth adoption.
Yeah.
From our country here in the
Yep,
U.S. or
yep,
okay.
locally.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Here locally.
Yeah, she was born at Sacred Heart Hospital.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's very
Yep.
cool.
We got
cool.
to be there on the morning that she was born, and so it was a really beautiful, amazing experience.
I don't know why I didn't introduce this because y'all passed so quick. but Mike Yoder, who you met, that we had interviewed him, and our audience, they know we sometimes shoot multiple episodes because we all have busy lives. But Mike's 2 kids were both adopted. He and his family, they couldn't have children, and they had a story. A lady they were on a walk, and she said, and some random lady said, "Do you guys know anybody in the community looking to adopt?"
Wow.
And so they adopted
crazy.
they were in the birth and all, like he tells it all.
See, I love
that
every
episode,
single
you'll have
story.
to
we'll have to listen
He
to that.
has an incredible adoption story that he told, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Every story is
the Fosdicks coming in, and we're going to talk like adoption in this episode. So it was like so weird how God was weaving that through. And they had an amazing story of adoption, and he actually found Christ through his adopted kids.
No way.
When he was
Said
there
9 months later,
he said 9 months later he was holding this baby, going like he didn't grow up in a Christian home, but something, the Holy Spirit told him, I need to raise this family in a Christian, these children in a Christian home.
That's amazing.
He literally
And
found
he gets
Oh, I
into
love
that
that.
on the cast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Found
That's so
Christ.
cool.
He wasn't a Christian guy. Not raised Christian.
36 years old.
36, 37 years old,
Yeah.
and got baptized.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't
Very
that
cool.
crazy?
Yeah, and I love that it
So
was 9
adoption.
months, because it was
9
like,
months.
you know,
And
you
like
think
you
about like you birthed.
So the
and-
lady
yeah.
that they agreed to, it's 2 weeks is their prep.
Wow.
2 weeks was the pregnancy, and they had a baby.
And you're like, and here you go.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at any rate, I don't want to take away from
No,
yours, but
that-
it's so crazy.
That
right?
is
There's
crazy.
So
That was
many
the theme
beautiful
of the
stories.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So you got to be in the room though with your daughter? No, or
Not
you were
in the
at
room,
hospital?
but we
You
were at the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that was just a beautiful experience, and then when she was 3 months old, we found out I was pregnant. So
No
boom.
way.
Wow.
Yeah, and so surprises. God
That's-
has lots of surprises. But
So you were raising a couple babies.
2 babies at the
yeah,
same time.
yeah, 1
And a
year and
toddler.
1 day apart.
1 year. Oh, so almost like Irish twins.
Yeah.
to a degree. Yeah. I mean, that's amazing. So, you have your 2 children. You have her, and then all of a sudden, years go by. How many years?
Well, we had said, have 2 biological kids
Okay.
and adopt 1. That was the plan, right?
Right.
And we said, well, seeing the CAC, the number of foster kids in our local community and the demand there, let's get our foster certification.
Yeah.
So we went and did those classes. What was it, 6 months or so?
Yeah, I don't know. Something came over us. I mean, I feel like that's kind of crazy talk. Like, I was pregnant, Monroe was new, and somehow we're like, let's sit in the middle of some foster care classes just to be like,
Right. This is
what
before
calls you to do that?
This is
I don't
before
know.
you were reevaluating everything on a weekly basis.
I apparently so.
But honestly, we felt called to do it, and
Yeah.
we knew that we were not going to accept foster kids
Yeah.
while we had 2 newborns in the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to delay it
Yeah.
for a couple of years, but we're like, now's the time. Let's get it done, get certified.
Okay.
And when we feel ready, we'll be ready. Then we don't have to start the certification process. So we did that, and then it got to the time where we were ready.
Yeah, it was the time that we were ready. A kind of crazy story, but it was post 2020, and everybody's reevaluating everything in life, and you have time to slow a little bit and a little bit more space to breathe and think through, like, what does life look like? And I was hanging with some friends from church, and one of my friends asked, do you think that you would ever consider adopting again? And my answer to her was, I think if we did, it would be a really random kind of situation where somebody would call us out of the blue and be like, hey, this child was born, or, there's a situation that's come up and you guys were on our hearts, and just reach out to us. And so I had told her that, and the following day she worked for the church, and she called me and she goes, you are absolutely not going to believe this, but there was a call to the church about a baby that was born at Fort Walton Beach Medical Center, and they're going to be placed in foster care unless there's a family that steps forward to adopt, and the family would like to have a family from your church step in and adopt. Would you guys consider? And I was like, did I just say this to you yesterday? And so with that, it just created, the long story short of that is that the grandmother ended up keeping the baby.
But it put this back on your heart.
Totally.
Started laying it
That's
back
what
on your heart.
initiated.
How long between adopting your daughter and having your second biological child to adopting these boys?
So our son was born in 2017.
Okay.
And finalization, they came to us in 22, and finalization was in 23.
Okay.
So 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
So is the process? It seems like I don't know anything about adoption, other than friends and you guys and folks around. But is some of the people tell me the process almost is easier, to adopt from a foreign country than it is in the U.S. Am I off on that, or is it? How does that work? I don't know. Is it hard? Is it?
I think every
lengthy?
adoption story is very different from one another, but all of them are complex.
Right.
And all of them
Costly too, right?
Some can be costly.
Which makes no sense.
Right. Through the foster care system, though, it is not a costly situation.
Okay.
So we had two experiences. Monroe was a private adoption, so we paid an attorney, basically have a file.
That they make sure that things go through, that
Yeah.
child is yours.
And it costs money like an attorney should earn, and so but they're doing a lot of the legwork for you.
Okay.
And then our second go was through the foster care system where we're doing all of that. And
So did these boys were placed with you as foster to adopt sort of thing?
with the intent to adopt.
With the intent to adopt.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so this time period was very short because the parental rights had already been revoked. They were in foster
okay.
care for an extended period of time. The foster mother that they were with is in her 70s and knew, for long term that would not be a viable, adoption. And so they were seeking out families for their adoption.
It sounds like she instilled a lot into them.
Yeah,
at a very young age.
She did. She's an amazing woman.
That's so cool.
She is.
Isn't it cool how God
hilariously
works?
funny too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to put them here
Yeah.
until I'm going to move them here, but they're going to get what they need right here.
Well, you know that-
Absolutely, and that's her whole
So cool.
her whole thing. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw, there was a video online I saw the other day, and maybe it's because I was prepping for this, because social media reads your mind.
Yeah, it does.
The algorithm
Kinda
is strong.
creepy.
Knows.
Yeah.
And so, there was a pastor that was bringing up parents that were in the process of adopting, and they had raised money to pay completely
Wow.
for all the families that came on stage, the adoption process.
Wow.
The church
That
decided
is
to
incredible.
stand with those families and said, what they don't know is and they literally were like, if you're here and you're going to adopt, they all came up and they were like, we're going to take
We
your
got you
information down.
covered.
We got you covered.
Wow.
Because, and the statement he said was that adoption is dear and near to my Savior's heart because I am adopted into His family. And so you don't even realize how, like, even as our salvation comes, is that we we are not right with God, but through Christ we were made right with God, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
that adoption story is I mean, in large part, it's the gospel story.
Yeah. Given a new nature.
And a new name. Yeah.
And, yeah.
So it's very interesting that I saw that. I didn't know if you saw that, but I just know that in our faith community, I think adoption is pretty prevalent, right? I mean, I see it. There are churches that I know one church. It's like from my hometown, and almost everybody in the church adopted had an adopted child.
That's incredible.
It's crazy because I know that weaves itself into the story of faith. But so you got these young boys, but how old were they when they came into your family, into your life? Because you had a story of your daughter being from birth, but theirs
8 and 6.
so different.
Yes. Very different. It was.
And it's a pretty neat story how they came to be on our radar, so to speak. So there is a Match.com for kids in foster care.
Really?
You go online.
That makes sense. I didn't know there was, but
Yeah.
that makes sense.
It's called Family Match.
Family
That's
Match.
really cool.
All right.
And so she's flipping through there. Of course, I'm in bed, and there's just a lot of signs that are really cool in hindsight, and I'll let Hillary share some of those. But she's going through, and they have biblical names, Micah and Zion. So she comes to me, and she's like, "Hey, I see these kids. I really want to reach out. Do you care if I do?" And I'm like, I don't think it's our burning bush. I think it's something else. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
And so she goes ahead and reaches out, and as it turns out, at that time, that would have been 2021 or so, Micah and Zion had already been placed, but they hadn't taken their profile
They had
down
been
yet.
matched. Yeah.
They had been matched with another family to adopt them. Yeah, and I probably said something stupid like, see, I told you that wasn't our bush that was burning. Yeah. And she's like, no, I just feel it. I just feel it. Do you care if I send them Christmas presents? I was like, yeah, go ahead. So she had them all packaged up, mailed them down to the foster home, had our other kids sign Merry Christmas on the card and everything. We never heard anything else. But I don't know, 6 months later, their profile popped back up on there. She calls, and
Wow.
of course the system was like, oh yeah, we were about to call you.
Of course.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're our next call.
Yeah. You're just our next call.
Yeah.
Funny thing you called
That's
us.
like when Bobby was here, Bobby Wagner was here, the mayor, and he said, what he quoted Reagan, it was like, I'm with the government, I'm here to help. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, sure you were. Yeah, sure you were. We know how the bureaucracy
There's a little bit of inefficiency there.
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
in the system.
Sure.
But-
So they've come on, and what I think is pretty interesting, because your two boys are of color and black, and here in the Emerald Coast, we're in a predominantly white area. And you've had now 3 or 4 years, but is there any navigating? Because I shared with you in break that I mentored some young black guys, and man, I love these guys to death, and from high school, and now these, I was sharing with you, I'm married one of them already. I've got another one I'm marrying here coming up in a few months, and the first one got married, had a baby. I mean, they're just great kids, and they're adults. I say kids, I see them as kids now.
Right.
They're amazing people, but they challenged my way, and I flipped the script on how people, because I didn't know it. I can remember in Daytona, we were at this youth camp, and I walked into a store with them, because I told you I had committed to spending my entire days with them. And I walked into a store, and I remember this lady in the store, like, walking. I could feel her walking and staring me down, and I'm like, what is up with her? And I said to him, Jay, you hang with us, you'll get used to it.
Is that right? Yeah.
You'll get used to it.
Yeah. Extra
They're watching
eyes.
us.
Yeah.
They're watching us.
Yeah.
And it was just this weird thing. And so through time, I've had this, it opened my eyes to privilege that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because you just say it's like white privilege or whatever, you just don't realize it. But I really didn't realize that I really do have a privilege that they don't have necessarily.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know, how does that work? Because I mean, look, great people up here. I'm not trying
That's
to,
right.
but
Yeah.
nobody's trying to bash I love our community, by the way, but it is different, because one of the things they said too, they grew up in a school together, right, where they were like the only black kids in this school. And I remember one of them said to me, yeah, I saw CJ, and was like, dude, you're gonna be my best friend. You're the other guy looks just like me. You're gonna be my best friend.
Yeah.
So because that does mean something. Like, I walk into a room and I
You feel
just like,
comfortable.
Yeah.
they walk in the room, they're like one of,
Yeah.
two of.
Yeah.
So what does that look like?
I think it is a struggle, and when you see conscious bias, when somebody is judging
Yes.
but I think we all have, whether we'd like to admit it or not,
Sure.
unconscious bias,
Sure.
right? And so that's what
No, I
I've
agree.
been more in tune to, had the antenna up for identifying that, but also just the tug of war of, should I make it something or should I not? While I want to honor their history and their culture, and make sure that is something that they don't miss out on.
Right.
I also don't want to overemphasize or make a big deal out of it. Like, hey, we don't see color, so that's my struggle with that part.
No, I'm genuinely asking the question because I don't know,
Yeah.
right? It's so tough to figure out, how do you navigate those and you're probably figuring it out every day.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, they came from a black and Hispanic culture primarily.
Right.
Moved to Destin, Florida, and so obviously a lot of observations around, like, what does our community look like from where we came from, and they're old enough to be able to voice that, and to be able to have open conversations with them. And so what I've been really thankful for is just the honesty and how they open up to us about that and how they're feeling. And I have still on a journey of learning. But have learned so much through their eyes too. And we have very open conversations about race in our home, and
that's great. Yeah.
and also celebrating, like, we do see color and we celebrate that, and we celebrate the differences of that, and how beautiful that can look together as a family,
Right.
in a community. And I think our children have also gained some ownership as far as like how they want to communicate that for themselves.
No, I think you've got to figure it out. I mean, so these guys that I mentored, they would call me through different stages in their life, right? And I remember one time, this one guy, he called me and he said he was getting a job at like Chick-fil-A corporate, and or actually he actually works Chick-fil-A corporate now, but it's before that. And he said, hey, I want to get this haircut, and I'm wanting to do a part or something. I was like, dude, I remember my first response to him when he called me. He's like, what do you think about it? And I was like, man, get whatever haircut you want to get, man. This is your head. And then all of a sudden it hit me. He was like I said, actually, I need to put you in touch with somebody that might understand because I'm a white guy that says I can get whatever haircut I want. Somebody might call you Uncle Tom, you know, all these like weird things. And I was like, you probably need to talk to somebody that's navigated the business world as a person of color.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I can answer this question for you. You know, I don't know that I can see that. And I think that, like, do you find yourself running into that sort of thing? Like, you just don't know the answer. Because I don't even know, like, because the hair is different.
It
too,
is.
right?
Actually,
that's an issue
I
too.
texted, we're really close with his foster mom
Okay.
and her daughter and granddaughter, and I was doing a whole different treatment system yesterday. And so I texted them with all the products, and I was like, okay, is this, am I doing it? Is this it?
Right.
Or do I need something else?
If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's, that has been a beautiful part of, for me, the bonding process has been trying, as poorly as I execute it, trying to just meet that need and be present with them and just kind of understanding it and learning how to do twists and
Well, it
braids
sounds like
and
you're
all
doing
the
this-
different things.
That's
So
so
you're
cool.
doing this in a very transparent and open way with them. So how do you feel like the response is on that side for them? You know, because, and by the way, parents, if you're listening to this right now, I want to tell you, being open and honest and transparent and having the tough conversations with your children, adopted or not, I could not tell you that. I mean, that's like almost like parenting 101 that I think people miss. You know, is like, don't be afraid to have the difficult conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that one has.
Because they're going to have
smacked us.
somebody.
Yeah,
They're going to have
They're gonna
somebody.
get it from somebody. They're gonna get it
from
from
the web or
somebody.
somebody.
Yeah.
It'd rather be
Right.
from mom and dad.
That's right.
absolutely.
That's
and
right.
and our boys have, you know, they have a different background. They've lived with different conversations.
Right. Right.
Different
You
life
know,
experiences.
different life experiences,
Yeah.
absolutely different life experiences. And so bringing everybody together and having an understanding of like baseline, what has everybody been exposed to and what does everybody know and what is everybody trying to navigate, you know, on their own or trying to fill in the gaps that they shouldn't be filling in the gaps. They should have this wise voice that's kind of helping them navigate that has, I think one of the big things of having the difficult conversations
Right.
has been a major part of the healing that our family has had collectively together.
Well, talking about that healing, because I've got a video I want to throw up, and Danielle's going to throw this video up for us. Here we go. So I want to throw this video. Let's play this video. And
One of the
talk about-
biggest things that I struggled with, and my husband would probably tell you the same, is that oftentimes people will say things, I'm sure y'all have experienced this too, where they'd say, oh my goodness, they're so lucky to have y'all. They're so blessed to be with you. And the thing is, like, they have just been through hell and back, and they have a long way to go, and everything that they've endured is going to affect them for the rest of their lives. It's hard, deep, heavy stuff. And so I get the heart behind that sentiment of like, thank God now they're safe, or, you know, they have people who are loving them, whatever. But I think that, you know, I mean, they're not lucky. They're not blessed. Like no one would choose to switch places with them. And so I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions is like, okay, this child comes into your home and so everything's like hunky-dory and they should be grateful and all of this. That's just not the truth. That's not their experience. Like most of them want to be with their parents because that's the way it's supposed to be. We're supposed to be with our parents. And they know something's wrong with that. And so they're not lucky. They're not blessed. All of us, of course, are blessed in many ways, but you know what I mean. That situation in itself, like, we should not call that blessed. I think one of the biggest things
yeah,
that
that's it, yeah. You sent this to me
Yeah.
in prep for this, and I thought it was so good, and I wanted to play that video because there are probably misconceptions like that.
Absolutely.
That, oh, because, hey, look, we live on the Emerald Coast.
It's beautiful.
We got
it
Noriega
is.
Point, and all these things that got Hillary hooked down here
That's
with
it.
you, right? And the sugar white sand and crystal clear emerald waters and all that. And you would think, man, you're blessed to get pulled out of the chaos in the community that we're. And to a degree, I guess there may be. I mean, I don't know, but that like hit me square.
Yeah.
Because that's the easy thing to say.
And I think no matter what, at the heart of adoption or the story of adoption, everybody's adoption story starts with loss. And so
Oh,
they've
wow.
lost their first family. Like that is first and primary. And what an adoptee does, wrestling with just that thought,
Why
is
did that happen?
why did that happen? And some of that comes with a lot of shame that somehow they had something to do with that. And so they're wrestling with a lot of questions, and
Your daughter, you had her since birth, but she knows the story,
she does.
and she, I assume, but once you know that story, you start wrestling with it, right?
Absolutely. And with the boys' adoption and coming
They were
into,
older.
they were older, and so the open conversations were so much more prevalent because they had this lived experience. She's only ever known us, but their adoption story kind of triggered her adoption story, and so now we have 3 different lives that have different questions and are wrestling with different components of just putting the puzzle pieces together of what is my life, and where did I come from, and how do I fit in, and how do I belong? And it's just so much identity that is in question, and so trying to speak into the primary identity of all of us being God's children, first and foremost, but also being able to just sit with them, not trying to fix anything, not trying to, well, now you're in this family, you're blessed. Now, now you've got a great household, now you've got a great community, now you can go to school and do, none of that, just sitting in the middle of the messy stuff with them and just letting them just grieve first.
Every boy that's played a sport, and I'm sure your dad may have done this too, but my dad would be like, you're a Becker. You get through this, right?
Yeah.
I only think about that because where was their identity?
Right.
The lineage.
You want to take some? I feel like I'm.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have gone through that process of adolescence of trying to figure it out, our identity, right? But with theirs, they don't have a couple of the most important pieces of the puzzle. Who are my parents? What were they like? Why did they not want me, or why did they lose me? What did they do to lose me? Maybe they did want me, but why was I not permitted to stay with them? And those are 2 big pieces of something a hill that we all climb through that age.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're climbing it without those major
Without
pieces.
those major
Like
pieces.
we almost like if you were seeing a rock climber, I've got some tools to go up it. And they don't have one of them.
Yeah, they're free
2
climbing.
of them, right? Yeah, they're free climbing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because obviously you're like, how do you reinforce like we got you, like we're here to support you, like we're in this, like how do you reinforce? Is it just showing up and showing love? I mean, what is it?
I think
maybe that's it, I don't
initially
know.
it was kind of identifying kind of what we were talking about before, like the family values, or like what is our role in your life, and so basically reiterating every single day, what our position is for them, like how are we going to be guiding them through life. And I was just talking to a friend about this yesterday. It's kind of interesting looking back on it, because really the trust level has to be there before any kind of behavior can follow, right? And that's like in our faith journeys, like just individually, we have to trust that what God has is better for us than what our own plan is going to take us to, or whatever. And so if we don't trust that what God has is the best, then we're going to go off and do our own thing, right? So my voice has to, and his voice has to be a trustworthy voice that, hey, when I tell you these things, and you follow them, it's because we want to lead you down this good path. And so, but if you don't have the trust, like, and that's not there for, you don't see the fruits of that for a long time. That takes time.
There's no other way.
And so just now, I feel like we're starting to see the fruits of the trust.
So you did a really good job early on of emphasizing safety.
Yeah,
you know,
safety.
I'm a dumb
mostly
jock,
safety.
and I'm like, well, why would they not feel safe? They can see we got walls, we got food in the pantry. Why would they not just feel safe? And it's not the case, right? Because they've been wrong before, and she would emphasize that over
really
and over again.
People,
or
seemingly.
Seemingly, like, you are safe. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
you're safe, and
well, especially
she did a good job of that.
I don't know their whole story. You guys do, but I would envision to be on a profile and then having that taken down. The backstory of that, as a listener, I'm going like, there's a reason.
There's why,
something happened.
Yeah.
So it's almost like they got jockeyed.
Yep.
You know.
Many times.
Right. I can only imagine, and that world and what that does. Like, there are people that spend years in counseling because they were last picked in kickball.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, this is not what we're talking about here. You know, and so that is, it's crazy. I wish that things were fair on this side of heaven.
Yeah.
And they're just simply not. And they won't be, you know, not until he comes back. And there's just nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
But except maybe fill in the gaps. Like you guys fill in the gaps where we can. Like you guys through generosity and adoption. I had a couple follow-up questions I want as you're telling your story. Your brother, is he still with us?
He passed away.
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. In his story, did any of these, did you see that growing up with him, some of this same sort of thing?
I do think it helped be able to navigate just the complexities of these conversations. The emotions of it. Different races. We had to deal with that a little bit growing up. And people, I have a lot of different stories about all of that.
Tell him the story, or his book.
Well, a lot of people would ask, you know, you guys don't look anything alike. Do you have different dads? Like, they're just trying to figure it out, you know? And he would always tell people that I was adopted.
Oh, that's great.
So,
That's great.
And I went with
good
it. You know, it was perfect.
That's great.
But
were your parents like saints or something? I mean,
they're pretty amazing people.
Are they?
I have to
were they
say.
like were they in ministry? Did you come from a Christian family? I mean, how did
Christian family for sure.
They
became they became Christians later in life though, in their early 20s or late 20s actually, like right when I was born.
What made them have this desire to adopt?
It was part of a community thing, kind of like what you were talking about. They had friends who had adopted from Korea, and through seeing their life and seeing that process played out, it just opened up something inside of their heart.
As well too.
It did.
Hillary,
and eventually on Cory's.
Exactly. Of course. No.
I think Cory knew what he was getting into. Like, all right, maybe not. Well, he knew a little bit what he was getting into, but he's like, you know, it's in the prenup. We're going to do this anyway.
It was on
It's
black and
already
white.
there. But say somebody out here watching and has a heart for adoption. Where do they start? I mean, I hear from, you know, the foster
system. Sounds like this Match.com.
Not that one, but where does somebody? Because it sounds like you did a lot of research and now research is not the word. That sounds goofy, but just a lot of due diligence and finding the right what God wanted you guys to do and to fulfill your family. But where do you start? That sounds like a big process.
It is a big process, and we may be journeying through a longer process than what's necessary. But I would say, first and foremost, I would say is that, like, has God placed that call on your life? Do you have alignment?
And you knew that early on.
Yeah, I did. But then, you know, ensuring that He was aligned with me on that too, and making sure that, you know, your that's part of your family calling is that number one. And then moving forward, really identifying, are you hopeful for an infant adoption? Are you open to...
Because you've done both.
Yeah, sibling groups. Are you open to older children? is your heart for international adoption? There's so many different avenues
Right,
with
that's why I'm
it.
like, what do
And
you-
so I think sitting in the middle of those questions, like, actually, this is really what I feel called to, and then being able to open it up. Anybody can reach out to me.
I was going to say the first step is to call Hillary.
Yeah.
And you kind of got a lot in your day. It seems like a little bit in your day.
I would love it. I would.
So if we could put her title up, DM her.
I'm going to do Instagram handles and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
so
Through the
yeah, for sure.
process of it, I think we've identified some key people that helped us along the way. We journeyed, really the long route of that, and I think once we identified, this is a great resource. This is a great resource. That anybody that was searching, it may be helpful to have those
Yeah, for
contacts
sure.
for.
Good.
So one of the other things you were talking about, and just this like figuring it out process. I watched a docuseries the other day, and in it they feature this lady, this black lady in Sudan. I think it's Saint Mary, Sister Rosemary, and in Sudan, and she was the guy just said, how do you keep doing this, and you don't understand like how that she's taking all these kids in, a lot of them from this Joseph Kony world, and taking these children in that were like child soldiers and stuff, and the brutality, the things that were happening to them, and nobody wanted them. She's taking in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these kids, and they just said, how do you keep doing it? And I just thought it was so beautiful. She said, I just step into the unknown.
Yeah.
And she said, but the unknown is where God is. And
That's
I was
so
like,
cool.
that
That's
was
great.
really
so
good.
beautiful. So
Yeah.
beautiful. She said, I don't know, I just step into that,
Yeah.
That's
because
cool.
that's where God is.
Yeah.
A little bit scared.
That is.
A little
Doing
bit
it a little
scary,
bit
though.
scared. It's very
Little bit
humbling
scary. Yeah.
and scary.
Yeah, for sure. Have there been any specific? Obviously there's challenges. We just talked about, but any beautiful surprises along the way, though, in your this kind of adoption story? Things that maybe people don't always talk about or say.
Why don't you tell them about, the one thing Micah said to us in the kitchen that kind of brought us to tears about the cycle?
Yeah, I think that was now that we're a few years in,
Yeah.
he's starting to identify, like, I have a role to play here. I have healing that needs to happen, but I'm going to take ownership of it. And what he communicated to us was that he's going to break the cycle, and that for generations past him, it's going to look different. And it's beautiful because God's given him this vision already.
And that awareness already.
And a vision, like a specific vision for, he's going to be speaking to people. He is going to be part of their healing journey. It's like he
On stage, he
yeah,
said.
it's very, very specific. And so I think because God planted that in his heart, that surprise came,
Created for something.
it was like,
He's
wow.
got a purpose.
Yeah,
After
like-
the NFL, of course.
Yeah, he's going to do that
During
first.
the NFL.
Right. No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that checks out. Everybody. That's every kid's dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it.
But just for them to start realizing, like, I have a purpose here,
Yes.
and I am going to do something with the painful parts that are going to be healing for people outside of my family, but for all the generations that come after me. Like, how impactful is that?
I love that he recognized something about a cycle
Yeah.
needing to be broken. Because
The awareness
here's the
of it.
thing. Here's the thing. We all have generational sin that's passed
Yeah.
down to us.
And
And
tendencies.
when you start, like, if I ever write a book, my first chapter is going to be self-awareness. It's going to be about getting some self-awareness, because I feel sometimes we walk through Earth and it's like we're not aware of the things that we need to dispel. It's that's the whole adage, like scripturally, don't point at the stick in your own person's your brother's eye. You look at the log in yours.
Yeah.
And so it's that sort of thing, but breaking that cycle is so important. I mean, because otherwise, you probably saw this video where the guy, like, they talk about generational sin. It's like the dirty water, and it's passed into
Yeah.
like the cup.
Right.
It's like until you actually do the work, you're just passing it on,
Yeah.
passing it on and passing it down, right? And so you have to do the work to break the cycle.
Yeah.
How does counseling come into play in that world? Like, do you work into that? Do they work into it? Would you suggest that for adopted parents? And how does that work?
Absolutely. The first thing that we did was went through some training after we had the boys that would kind of identify more trust-based parenting, where you are dealing with parenting in a different way for trauma. And so what does that look like, and how do those behaviors start to kind of play out? And you can see all of those things in writing. You can see all of those things when you take all the classes, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense, that makes sense. But like real life scenarios come up, and you're like, well, like what do we do in the middle of that? So for us, that was really good to have a community of people to talk to. But then for our children, they did start out and that was part of the state process too.
Oh, okay.
That they had them walk through some therapy, and we extended that after they were placed with us. And then we kind of, once the trust level started coming in with us, and we could see that they were willing to really verbalize and open up to us about some things, we've backed off. And then just with an open mind of, at any point, we may need to jump right back in, right back into it. But definitely highly recommend for that.
Well, I recommend it for everyone.
Yeah,
Everybody I marry, I tell them that they should go ahead and 6 months out plan a counseling session.
Yeah.
Because what you don't realize in marriage, and it's almost like what you said, is like life's going to hit you hard, and and if you have it already set, what happens? Because in a married couple, you like the first person to say we need counseling. It's like it's almost you feel like it's the end,
Shots
right?
fired, yeah.
But if you already have it planned for 6 months, it doesn't matter if you're healthy or you're not. You're going.
You're going.
That's brilliant.
And so like then nobody's upset. Well, we already had it. So we already had it planned. We're going. Nobody, So it's like one of those things that you just get into almost a maintenance.
Yeah.
Almost a maintenance. So I always recommend it for newly married couples. I'm like, you should jump
Just set
into
it
that
up.
world. Set it up early. Set it up early.
We need to go do that. We need to change our oil.
So how do you keep faith, marriage, parenting grounded? I mean, especially with all this layers of your calling, your community, cultural, everything you're navigating. How do you stay grounded?
That's assuming that we are.
It's a big assumption, JB.
Hey, we're just a $10 podcast.
I mean,
a loaded
we're
question.
faith-based, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Faith.
And
Maybe integrated into, weaving into everything that we do, that as the foundation, even in the conversations with our children.
Yeah.
And certain things come up, and the principles that you're communicating to them, you realize that God is actually saying that to you. And so, you're learning as you're walking through with your children, like, oh yeah, that hits. Okay, I got
I
it.
also think it's important to really to have people that check you.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I have friends in my life. These guys, I have friends in my wife. I have people that like, hey, you ain't all that in the bag of chips, boy.
We all put our socks on one at a time. Right?
Yeah, Juice tells me that all the time. So
we're all human.
We're all human, but sometimes you need people in your life though that it'll hold accountability.
Accountability's huge.
For sure.
Transparency and accountability is like really good for everybody. Otherwise, humans will human.
Don't surround yourself with yes men, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good. I mean, listen, it has been an absolute pleasure.
You guys are great.
You guys are absolutely awesome. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've got one last question. I actually forgot to ask it to Mike and our last guest, but I have one last question.
Didn't.
I know. I just realized I've been asking it to everybody this season except for one because I messed up. But for most people, I've been asking this question. I started asking it, and it's kind of my last question. I want to ask it, and you can both answer independently. If you could go back and tell your 25-year-old self anything, knowing what you know now, what would you tell him? Or her? In this case.
Him or her?
Oh, don't be assuming, dude. No,
him or her. Such a dude.
Such a dude.
Yeah, I think stick with it. Stick with what your plan is, and always filter it through the Holy Spirit.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
That's a good
If
answer.
you can learn that at 25, that's a good lesson to learn.
That'd be amazing.
I'm still working through this as 43-year-old,
Yeah.
but you know, the perfectionism and trying to do everything just right, I think I would free myself a little bit and say that, you know, growth is a journey. It's not linear. There's going to be some real dips, and your trajectory is still going in the direction that God is calling you to. And sometimes those dips are what He's going to take you through, that you got to learn something in there, or you got to have the people that are like, ooh, that looks a little gnarly on your life, or
Joy in the trials.
or the things that are refining you, you know, the things that you have to sit in that you're like, I actually don't love that part of me, and I hate sitting in it, but I have to, so He can work it out of me.
Those things are okay.
And
That's
it's
what
okay.
makes your journey.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
okay, and like, let's just be honest about it.
Nobody gets out of this world unscathed or unscarred.
Yeah.
We all have it.
Yeah.
That's why we need each other. Really.
That's right.
Yeah.
That sounds like
A
the more
journey
you know,
song.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah, so but it really has been an absolute pleasure to honestly just hear your story more.
Yeah.
I mean, what a testimony. And it's not done yet, and you have so much more to go, but what a testimony. And I know your story is going to bless our audience out there, and I'm just so thankful that you guys said yes to
Thank
come
you,
on
guys.
to this
Thank you for
this
having
old
us.
$10 podcast with these jabronis.
Yeah, it was great.
And so
Thank
it's
you
a
guys
lot
for
of fun
having
to
me.
hang out. I do want to say before I go into my end, I do want to say that it's kind of weird for me to say this, but I really do want to talk about it. I wore this necklace. This is like a dog tag that I made years and years ago. And I had it custom made after my father-in-law passed away. He passed away at 57 years old and had a blood clot, went to his lungs 3 days before Christmas, and we lost him. And it has his initials on it, and he was a private pilot and had his plane on it. And my mother-in-law passed away shortly after that, and we lost them. My wife was an orphan at 35. And a few years back, we lost her grandmother, and her grandmother, Mimi, as well. But last night, we lost her grandfather at 96. He lived a great life.
96.
He would have turned 97 this Friday.
Yeah.
But at
97.
3:30 in the morning, he went to sleep, and he woke up in heaven. And we were high school sweethearts. So this family was instrumental, but I know for her, I just want to say that people matter in your life, and your people matter, and they mean something, and they leave imprints on you. And those people left imprints, and David certainly left an imprint. And his dad, Papa and Russell, left an imprint. And so, kind of weird. I thought you'd cry, Hillary, before I would. But
When I said somebody
Oh,
normally
no.
cries every pod,
yeah.
not normally
But,
JB, but understandable.
Yeah, it's not sad because,
No,
man, he's in a better place and he lived an incredible life. But it's just want to have a memory and memorialize him for a second. That family, and I know for Danielle, it's really tough because all of her people, I mean, she has some aunts and uncles, but grandparents, parents, and all that, they've all gone to be in heaven. And he was kind of the last one. But they impacted my life, certainly hers, and even our children's lives. So what an incredible
What a legacy.
incredible legacy.
Yeah.
So I kind of wore this in memory of Russell Lewis Polome. Lived great. Born in 1926.
That man has probably pounded a ton of crawfish in his time. How much crawfish has he eaten?
Heck yes.
Holy
heck yes.
moly.
Holy moly. So I just wanted to memorialize him and share that memory with my audience and you, because I think it's important. The people that have come in your life and come into your life and impacted you, they make who you are.
That's right.
Right. So, but this is the part. Now moving on. This is the part I like to say. Listen up, kids. Cory and Hillary's story is a reminder that I need to put my glasses. That faith, family, and purpose aren't just ideas; they're choices we make every day. From navigating adoption to leading in their community, their lives show what happens when you stay rooted in what matters most. A huge thank you to the Fosdicks for sharing their heart and their journey. Until next time, keep showing up for people, your purpose, and your community. I mean, or don't, because what the hell do I know?
What the hell do I know? I'm just JB, middle-aged dad with ADD. Candid convos, jokes so lame, jabronis pulling a poker face. Just a couple of dudes with ADD. What the hell do I know? With JB.